Okay, we're going to do a part 2 today to the radio pouch install on the Alice frame. Because I watched the last one, and even though I think it's presented pretty good, you know, I think most people should be able to see what's going on and everything. But the thing is that the lighting here is not perfect. I don't have this thing on a desk to where I'll just, you know, show up close showing and all that stuff. So we're going to go ahead and do part 2, where we're going to go ahead and give you some up close details and stuff. We'll talk about this a little bit more in depth. One thing I wanted to say is that this pouch is not coming off. So, I mean, when you put it on, the pouch is not coming off. It's going to be attached in too many places, you know. So, at the very least, these bottom straps will keep anything from coming out the bottom, right? It holds it. Can't go any further than that. But the thing is that, you know, depending on what you're going to put in the pouch and so forth, you know, I mean, that's going to depend on whether you want these straps down here below this cross member here. Now, if you have a regular Alice frame, you know, you have to take similar thoughts into consideration, right? Now, what I have here is I have my D-rings are directly anchored in. There's an overhand just on where the D-ring is, you know, where it's centered onto the D-ring, and then I put an overhand. So it goes from D-ring to overhand to around the frame to another overhand, and then the bitter ends are here, and you can use those to tie stuff to the rucksack once you've got this all completed. So this will help you to tie things to the frame, you know, full strength parachute cord. So, and then I taught you guys how to make yourself a full strength pull strap or whatever you want to call it, right? So handle. Anyway, this right here, you know, you can grab whatever the weight of the rucksack is. This is a full strength paracord removable handle, right? Easy to make, easy to put on, you know. But anyway, that's not what this is about. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just come up close to the camera, and then I will show you a few little things here. Alright, so remember, when you put this on, you want to just put it on in a semi-loose manner, you know, when you buckle the buckles and everything. And then once you get the rest of your pack on, and you put your radio in there, or whatever you're going to keep in there, whether it's you know, water bladder or what have you, okay, wait until everything's on, and then, you know, sort of snug things up the way you want them. You know, you always want to leave things a little bit loose until you get everything the way you want it, and then snug it up. Okay, that's always the way you want to do it. Doesn't matter what project it is, it doesn't matter, right? You always want to do it loosely and then snug it up. Now right here, what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about these ladder lock buckles. Alright, so down here by the camera. So when we talk about ladder lock buckles, why are they called ladder lock buckles? Because they look like a ladder, right? They got rungs like a ladder. Okay. Now right now it's just buckled. Okay, it's just buckled. And the lock part comes right here. So this part is where the lock part comes in. Okay, you're going to put that back through that slot right there. You see? So this is where, that's where the lock off comes. Right, and now the more pressure you put on this, the harder it's going to come undone. I mean, harder it's going to be to come undone. So there it is. Some people will say, well, that bag doesn't have anything to close at the top. You know, they're worried about rain and whatnot. You know, the thing is you could fold this over, right? So you can fold this over underneath the scapular, all right? Underneath the scapular pad, if you're using the MOLLE 2 straps, which the scapular with MOLLE 2 shoulder straps, I found that to be really nice and very comfortable. So I suggest using that on your pack. You've seen it in the other videos on my actual pack. Where am I? So let's going to talk about this a little bit more. Oh yeah, there I am over there. So here's an old snug pack, you know, dry bag. Now, when we were in the jungle, the way you want to travel in the jungle is you want to travel with a bag of bags, and that means everything's compartmentalized in dry bags. So everything is compartmentalized in dry bags. In this particular case, you know, you could write on this with a magic marker. You could just put like clothes, or you could put whatever you want, right? Just whatever that is in a black magic marker. That way you know what's inside. You get all these bags that are all olive green, or they're all camouflage or whatever. You know, you're gonna be mixed up. So, I mean, what did I have right in here now is Swagman roll. I just got this in here. You know, I store things in bags like this. You know, sometimes I don't store them in vacuum seal bags. I'll just store them in these type of dry bags. Anyway, this Swagman roll, I highly recommend these things. This is really a great product. But that is not the object video right now. But the thing is that what you could do is you can go ahead and just stick this inside, right? Now this is a bit of a large bag. You know, you get maybe like a 10-liter, you know, sack. I'm going to go ahead and loosen up this buckle. Loosen up this buckle. Now, if I were going out using this, I'd probably put everything I wanted in here operational, you know. But if I'm just gonna like not use it until I get to where I'm going, maybe I might just put put everything in and just, you know, buckle it up, right? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and get this set up to where I'll just go ahead and line this bag. So I've got bag liner there. This provides the protection. This particular bag provides the protection. Even though this is a waterproof bag to some extent, right? So the material has a backing on it, so that's a waterproof backing on the material. But of course you got sewn through areas, you know, so this is not completely waterproof, it's water resistant, right? But if you want to waterproof your stuff that goes into this bag, and you know it's going to be like a really rainy conditions, and you want to keep your radio and everything else dry until you are in a position to where you can really use it, then you know use the you know the liner bag. So you want to go ahead and put yourself something like, you know, AquaQuest or a Snug Pack liner bag. Go ahead and put all your stuff in there. Get all your kit in there. Go ahead and, you know, roll it tight and stuff. And then when you're done, just roll that over and stick it in. And go ahead and tighten it up. And then you'll give this top part a little fold and shove it underneath your shoulder scapula pad. Alright? Make sure you get the excess air out, you know, because you can leave a little bit of air in there, and that will give you actually a little cushion on your back. These bags, you know, even though they are very watertight, they're not. I never consider them 100% watertight. I never do. So, stuff in there, especially if you have it with a lot of air, will survive a quick dunk, you know. But let's say you're in the jungle. This is the reason why you have a bag of bags. So you have a watertight bag for your rucksack, and then within that liner bag, then you have these individualized, compartmentalize all your stuff. And one thing nice about this, you're in the jungle, you're doing any kind of water crossings, and it just acts as a flotation device. See, so you could do that. Just be aware of anything that might, you know, puncture the bags and so forth. You know, that's why this right here, pretty good, you know, for protecting it against anything that poke a hole or whatever. I mean, thorns are going to go through just about anything. I mean, you just got to be aware of thorns. In the jungle, if you pick up a leaf, a lot of times you'll find thorns underneath. You know, you just got to be careful. So anyway, this is somewhat movable up and down. It's not perfectly movable, but it is somewhat movable, you know, so that it can kind of work with your back and work with your pack, work with your shoulder straps and whatnot. Now, this is not going to be a super long video. I mean, I just wanted to like go over a little bit more to make sure that you guys get this. If you don't get it, all you gotta do is send me an email. Okay, send me an email. I check emails a couple times a week usually these days, because I have to check them on the computer, because some got screwed up on the phone that I use, and I gotta figure it out. I just gotta spend time with it is all it is. I gotta spend time with it and get the right things plugged back in. you know, and then I'll be able to answer emails on the fly like I used to. But yeah. So this is the radio pouch, right? This is the quote-unquote radio pouch that you find. You can find these radio pouches on eBay. They're quite inexpensive. They're like $8 to $10 usually for one of these. And it's a good pouch. Doesn't come with this patch, by the way. This is the radio patch that I put on there. You know, it's an antenna, right, which indicates radio stuff. So I put that on there. So you could get your own if you like. Yeah. So anyway, that's what it looks like all together. You know, on here, you can put duct tape over the drain hole down here if you like, on the inside and the outside, just on the inside, or don't cover it at all. Depends on what you want to do. You know, if you're in a really, really wet environment like jungle, I would say, you know, don't cover the hole. If you're in an area that's like a lot of sand, I mean, this is obviously it's woodland camouflage, but if you were in a lot of sand and you had a desert radio bag that was desert camouflage, it has a hole in the back and the bottom, you know, I mean, sand can rub a hole, you know, if you know, it causes friction. You could let that stay open and, you know, shake it every now and then to get the sand granules out of your bag, or you could seal it up with a piece of 90-mile-an-hour tape, you know, 100-mile-an-hour tape, right? Just seal it from the inside. You could use this bag to haul water if you needed to. Just put the duct tape, you know, the 90-mile-an-hour tape over the drain hole in the bottom, and then, you know, dunk it in the water. Now you got a water carrier, you know, if you need. I mean, these are the types of things that you have to think about, guys. When you're thinking about your equipment, you know, you have to think, well, what other uses can I use this for besides what it's intended for? You know, I can remember carrying water. I remember getting water and filtering it from a British Army Basha bag. It will hold water, you know, not for a super long time, but it's waterproof enough that it will hold water long enough for you to filter it if you need to. In a situation, you have to be, like, you know, careful not to be discovered, right? So so, you know, this is the thing about equipment. You know, I mean, you can do modifications. You can make things better. You can make things work better for you by, you know, modifying them, having an open mind as to, well, what could this also be used for besides what it was designed for. You know, things need to have more than one purpose a lot of times. This is one thing that we learn, is that a lot of things can be used for multiple things. Just, you know, you got to take that mentality of a meal ration, of breaking meal rations down. You know, like I'll use cocoa. I'll get rid of the sugar. I don't use sugar anyway. But if I want cocoa for a drink and a sweetener, that's a multi-use item. Do you understand where I'm coming from here? Everything should be multi-use in your kit. Everything should be multi-use. There should not be anything that's not really multi-use, except for, of course, your weapon. You know what that's used for. Um, you know, but as far as your regular old kit, you shouldn't have anything that isn't multi-use. Now, I think that I've covered this radio pouch, fairly well. If you guys have questions or what have you, hey, can you show me this? Hey, can you show me that? Because I did not really grasp that part. I didn't see that part. I don't understand where this goes or that goes. All you have to do is email me, and I will make a special video, covering that, because I know that not everything is going to come out perfectly on camera, simply because you're not standing here watching me and asking me, hey, I didn't really see that, can you show me what you did there? And then I'll break it down for you. Alright? That's just the way it is in YouTube land, right? Just the way it is in YouTube land. So these radio patches are great. Not only are they brand new, not used, but they're affordable, which is something that especially a lot of younger guys, maybe they're in their 20s, maybe they got a girlfriend or wife, maybe they even got kids already. I mean, looking for a deal on something. Maybe they're in the military. Maybe you're in the military right now. Maybe you are, part of a militia or what have you, and you're just looking for stuff that will get the job done for you, yeah, this is a great pouch. Doesn't come with this. It does not come with this patch. Okay, it doesn't come with this patch, but you can buy one of these if you want to do the same thing. Okay, and I put that on with Coats extra strong upholstery thread. So I put that the loop portion of the Velcro on there with Coats extra strong upholstery thread. Not coming off. What else? I think that's about it for this video. I'm still doing stuff with my garden and whatnot, so I gotta go and weed today. Weeds just weeds just don't stop growing. Doesn't matter what you do. If you don't use herbicides, pesticides and stuff, then weeds are always going to be a pain in your butt. They're always going to be a pain. Just got to deal with them. Yeah. So I think at some point, though, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to be, I think at some point that I'm going to be comfortable with just, I don't have much to do with the food growing in the garden and, the field, whatnot. If I get a break on that stuff, then we'll go ahead and we will switch gears and we will come back to the pack build. I'm going to come back to the pack build. I need to go ahead and I want to spray paint. I got to do the spray painting while it's still hot. I can do the spray painting while it's still hot. So I have to take this bag back off, and I'm gonna paint this olive green and olive drab green, I should say. And well, I'm gonna put another coating of black. I'm gonna put another couple coatings of black, flat black, high heat stove paint. That's what I'm using for this. It's gonna be high heat stove paint. The black that's on here now is what came from the factory with T3. T3 is a company owned by a veteran Navy guy. He was I think he's medically discharged fella. But anyway, this frame is the best Alice frame on the market. Anyways, his company, T3. So, if you're looking for an Alice frame, yeah. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead I'm going to strip this down, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to clean it off good with rubbing alcohol, wearing gloves, and then I'm going to give it another 2 coats of black with high heat black, stove black. And then once I've done that, then I'm going to tiger stripe it up the best I can. There's not a whole lot of room, there's not a whole lot of real estate here to put tiger stripes on it. I think I'll probably use masking tape. I know I have some tiger stripe stencils, but I think I might just use a bit of masking tape and tiger stripe it up like that. And so what that will mean is me taking and tearing strips of masking tape into tiger stripe patterns and applying them over, the black frame, and then I will take olive drab green paint and spray over. And then once that's nice and dry, once I put on 2-3 coats of that and it's nice and dry, then I'll take off all the masking tape and it will all be tiger striped. Okay. And that will be the green, the spring summer frame setup with pack and whatnot. All right. Now I have another frame exactly like this one, T3, same company. That's it is coyote brown. Now I'm thinking that I might do that frame too. Which means I will have to take everything that I have right now off of it, which is in the other room. I have an M81 pack with tiger stripe pouches on it that will all come off. And also it has MOLLE 2, the MOLLE 2 scapula pad with shoulder straps integrated. It has that on there. All that stuff is on there. All that will have to come off. I'm thinking maybe to tiger stripe that in brown and coyote. I don't know. There's a lot. I get a lot of projects that I want to do, but I just when you're trying to grow your own food and everything else, it's hard to find time, guys. And then I'm old and tired. I may not look old and tired on video, but yeah, I'm old and tired. So sometimes I need to take naps. So yeah, this setup will be spring summer. Spring summer. All right. Yeah. And then I want to do some modifications to my other Alice pack. So the other Alice pack's a medium Alice pack as well. It's Coyote Brown Spec Ops. So it's not exactly like an issue pack, but it is thousand denier, which is really nice. I did a modification to the shoulder strap connection points that gets rid of the squeaking, okay, because those packs will squeak the way that they've got them set up. So I devised a way that there's no more squeaking, right? So we'll get into that too at some point. If any of you guys are like hot to see something like really quick because you're in the midst of working up something, you know, send me an email. Okay, I'll see if I can change some stuff around and get some things on video for you. I can't promise anything. I mean, everything is pretty much fly by the seat of your pants on the channel. You know, it's just the way it is. So when you get all your stuff into the bag, when you get your straps around the back of the frame and you're getting ready to tighten it all up, you can just kind of equalize it out by doing that. And pull it up until it's tight, you know, like that. And then, I mean, you could just fold that down and shove it up underneath your scapula pad, and you should be alright. Okay. There's about 1.5 to 2 inches of wiggle room there, you know. But it won't drop down below there because you're tied in with your D-rings. See, D-rings there? Those are tied in with paracord to the frame above this level. Right. Yeah. Well, guys, I think I'm going to let you go with that one. I hope that helps. If you have questions, all you got to do is let me know. I know that some of you guys are on a shoestring budget. I've been there. I've been there, done that. I'm not on a completely shoestring budget, but I'm not you know, a lottery winner either. So, but we try to keep things realistic on the channel. Help some of you guys get your gear sorted out, and you know, I'm always open to, you know, you sending an email and say, hey, could you talk to me about this? What do you use for this? What do you use for that? No problem. You know, it's the way it is. This stuff is passed down, you know, generation to generation, just like what we're doing now. Usually it's in person, not always in person. You know, nowadays this YouTube thing allows us to do stuff that we didn't used to be able to do a long time ago. Yeah, coffee. If I won the lottery, I would have more time to do videos. I'd probably get a little bit more professional with it so that I could do things every day, setting things up, going over things and whatnot. That would be good. That would be good. You know, been playing the lottery for ever. Forever. Forever. Did you ever see that movie? With the kids, the baseball diamond and all? Forever. I don't know, what was that? Sandlot movie. Great movie. Forever. Forever. Great movie. Sandlot. Yeah. The back and forth on the insults between the two kids is a great scene. If you haven't seen the movie Sandlot, you need to watch it because it's hilarious. You know, the one kid calls the other kid the butt sniffer, and yeah, so the other one's like scam eater, butt sniffer. You know, it's pretty funny. Sandlot. Well, I think that's pretty much it. I can't think of anything else for for this little radio pouch thing. You know, you can mount any kind of stuff that you want to an Alice frame. I mean, that's really just the beauty of why the Alice system is still around. It's because it's very versatile. You know, I don't have a Philby pack, but I've heard that those have some similarities with the Alice as far as frame and stuff goes. The thing I don't like about them though is that I heard that they were 500 denier. I mean, you know, my USGI camouflage medium Alice pack is about 500 denier. But the thing is that I wish it were 1,000 denier. I wish it were, you know. But, you know, now with the Spec Ops pack that I have, it's nice, but it's not exactly like the USGI issue pack. You know, it doesn't have the wide band of webbing around. That's something that I'm going to put on there, you know, with brown, 2-inch wide brown mil-spec webbing. I'm going to put that on there. The pass-throughs doesn't have those, you know, on the back pockets. Does not have pass-throughs, which I think is that's something that needs to be there. It needs to be on that rucksack. I mean, they've done some different things to it, you know, to make it their own. But the problem is when you make it your own too much, as far as like from companies making a you know, deriving from the military version, you know, that sometimes they get away from things that were really needed, you know, or really wanted on the military pack, right? Sometimes that happens, and that's not good. You know, we gotta, you know, then we got a little bit of an issue. But the thing is that I don't know. It's very close. When it comes down to it, though, at the end of the day, you know, you're gonna do the best that you can with what you've got. That's really what it boils down to. Do the best you can with what you've got. Now remember, guys, after you tighten this up, make sure that you slip the bitter end back in over here. Okay, make sure you do that. That way, you know, your ladder lock buckle doesn't accidentally come loose. That's what I call it, ladder lock. Okay, ladder lock. So right now, there's the ladder. Now we're going to lock it off. We put that back through there. Now it's locked off. Alright. Ladder lock. Ladder lock. Ladder lock. Yeah. Hope it helped. Guys, come back at you another one. And hope you have a good day. Bye for now.